Red Fox. Red Fox was, I will say, was one of those people that was a little bit before his time, but also didn't get his just due. And I feel like he got everything that he was getting towards the end. He got it very late.
Come on, spill the tea.
Yeah. Ooh. All right. Woo. This is light work.
Flex it.
Shoulders and back workout, that's a wrap. 2 hours in, superpower works the whole way through. Keep you going. Lock in, man. Get yours. Superpower.
Y'all, welcome back to another episode of the CVMK Show, because it is what it is. I am stoked for this episode. You know why? This episode is going to be hilarious. This is the top 10 male comedians, dead or alive. I had to do something. There was a podcast by the name of Club Shay Shay that had a very special guest on, and they broke the internet. And I started to think, have we ever fully gave attention to who the greatest comics, male comics, are at all time? Or do we just assume a lot? So this episode is going down because this is the best podcast on earth. That's why I need you to subscribe. YouTube at CVMK. Instagram, it is what it is _show. Y'all, CVMK Global, we just crossed over 71,000 followers. I need you. And then on YouTube, we're over 10,000 followers, close to 11. I need you. I'm trying to get to 12,000. I can only get to there when you hit and share and like and subscribe. And I look forward to connecting with you. So we have on some amazing talent. People that have been here before, my man Steve, but we also have a very special guest. When we return, we're going to get into the top 10 male comics, dead or alive. Steve-O and Arian, how are y'all doing today?
It's the word.
Doing good, my man. Doing good. Glad to be here.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you being on. The two brothers I want to see. What he saying, Fred? Friday after next day, y'all the two I want to see. Look, hey, we're sitting backstage. Steve was like, man, my guy want to jump on. He want to get on this. I'm like, let's do it. The more the merrier. So for them that do not know, Aaron, tell us about yourself, man, before we get into this.
What's up, y'all? My name is Arian. I got a little podcast, a little sports podcast with my boy Steve up there. It's called the Sideline Talk Podcast. We talk sports, talk a little comedy, just a little bit of life. So comedy is one of my favorite things. So I'm happy to be on the show and put in my little insights.
Let's do it. See, when you on everybody's podcast, I feel like if there's a guest that is been on everybody's podcast, Steve will go be on it.
He Mr. Worldwide. He get there.
Mr. Worldwide, man. But look, I'm so excited about this. This is important. We have to seal the canon of all-time great, because right now the internet's just buzzing. It's the Wild Wild West. People are saying things and a lot of the stuff, but I'm not gonna lie. Club Shay Shay broke the internet. Cat Williams did his thing, whether you agree with it or not. He exposed the industry for what it is. Some of it, obviously, I don't know any of the stories. I can't say that, but it was funny. It was entertaining. It was designed to do what it's designed to do, is to keep you watching, regardless of the truth. But here we're going to discuss truth. We have to get to the top 10 male comics, since Steve-O made his change instead of active, because I had a completely different list. And that list would have had some characters on. You were like, I think, but we might do that episode later. But dead or alive. I'll start off. Aaron will hear from you, the Steve-O. My number one comic, male comic, dead or alive, is the GOAT himself. He's been called Caesar by one comic. You have seen him in stand-ups like Delirious and Raw. You have seen him in all the 90s greats like Nutty Professor. No, it was actually 2000. Vampire in Brooklyn. Bowfinger. That was not a classic. But he's had classic characters, Mulan to Shrek. This guy, Eddie Murphy. The reason for his number one status. Laughability obviously is the obvious one. Is this person funny? Body of work. Eddie Murphy has evolved from not just a stand-up, obviously he has a lot of famous stand-ups, but to have movies that were hits, to be on SNL. His body of work is almost unmatched. If Eddie is in something, it's going to be big, even if it's a flop. Eddie Murphy is fun. He is the reason why I feel like they all do it, because they all want to be big. Like Eddie was big in the 80s. Eddie is the reason why we have Coming to America. He's the reason why we have Boomerang. Where else can we have seen Robin Givens, Halle Berry, and Leela Rashad in their prime competing?
Marcus
Dolly. Where else? Nowhere. Because of Eddie Murphy. And that is why he's my number one on the top 10 comics, male comics of all time.
Okay.
Touché.
I do rock with the man Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
I'll get a little more into him when I pick him, but I don't have Eddie Murphy as my number one. I got someone who's a little more dear to my heart. I don't know if it's because I just grew up with this man, or I've seen him from all angles, from him coming on through Def Jam, Kings of Comedy, all sorts of stuff. But I got the man Bernie Mac, legendary.
That's my
He's legendary through body of work, him being just how funny it is, all his movies, his shows. He's able to do the family thing. He's able to do the raunchy thing. He's got an angle for everybody. So for whatever everything likes, he got a little piece for you. And Bernie Mac, he can do everything for me. So that's why he's my favorite. I love Bernie Mac. I've never laughed the way I've laughed at a family show just like Bernie Mac's show. I think Bernie Mac's show was before its time. It was. I know we had black sitcoms, all growing up stuff, but this is finally a black sitcom I feel that actually connected, besides like the Martin Show or something. But Bernie Mac is just personally, he's just my favorite.
I'm not mad. I'm not even mad at Bernie. As a Chicagoan,
and that too,
it's hard not to put Bernie up there.
And what's crazy? Growing up, I didn't know he was from Chicago till like I got older, and then it was like it makes sense though. Mm-hmm. It makes so much sense, and to that I second that. Bernie is by far none the GOAT. Why? It's just something simple. I break it down to. You don't want to come on behind him. Nobody wants to be when Bernie is there. Nobody's sitting there taking jokes because everybody gonna gravitate towards Bernie. They don't care what you talking about, Eddie. They don't care what you talking about, Richard. They don't care what you talking about, Cat, bro. I'm just being honest. When Bernie open up his mouth and he talking, he's gonna have the crowd laughing from start to finish, and that's why he the GOAT.
Some milk and cookies. That's what I'm saying.
I thought I want some milk and cookies. When white people when white people recognize you as the GOAT, that's saying something.
Bro, you got white people talking about him downstairs.
A joke that cannot be iterated today.
I thought that was something that was for us. I thought that was our people's stuff, but I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he was even saying, he's like, man, dude was a genius.
He was. You know what Bernie had? Bernie had the look and the voice. Like you knew something funny was gonna come out.
Yeah, and
I don't know what's wrong with him.
He felt like a preacher. He felt like he was preaching comedy to you. Just
I like Bernie, man. I mean, his style, his delivery. He was we'll say this. He was the best one on the original Kings of Comedy. Like
bar none.
There was no second. It was Bernie, Steve MC, then said, and right? Like it was. Bernie is. I think as a comedian, I'm not a comedian. Well, I would say, I have performed one time at the Outset Comedy Club on Amateur Night, so I'm gonna count that crap.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody booed me, so it was cool. I didn't get a lot of laughs, but nobody booed. No. But I would say that if Bernie Mac is performing, I would hate to be the comic that follows. Mm-hmm. How could you follow such an act? Because he's gonna destroy the audience, no matter who it is. Right.
As far as stand up, I don't know how it gets any better besides, maybe Eddie, maybe someone like, Cat or something. But as far as stand up, it doesn't get much better. And that's not even including all his other bodies of work.
That's true.
We didn't even break it down. Like from movies, like even I feel like some of his smaller movies was his most funniest.
Yeah.
Like
House Party, Soul Man. Like, you know how many times I quote Soul Man? Talking about 60-40. Like it just stuff like that. He has so many iconic lines in so many iconic movies. Like it's too many. You cannot have them and not outside the topic.
Yeah, life.
Trouble. Right. How many times already we just trouble.
Bernie Mac, I'm not mad at it. Bernie Mac is you too. Okay, for number 2, I'm gonna catch controversy for this. I don't care what anybody says. Regardless of the facts of whatever, I don't condone any of that. Well, I'm just looking at this person's ability, their body of work, their laughability. The Buddy Bop is number 2. Because Bill Cosby is a genius. I don't care what anybody says, brother. Like, look, Bill Cosby is the reason why Black progress on TV exists. The Cosby Show, A Different World, is because of that one man right there, Dr. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby also, from time to time, would, when Johnny Carson wasn't available, he would do the, Tonight Show. He would be the person presenting, he'd be the role filler for Johnny Carson from time to time in the 70s and some of the 80s. I think because of controversy, Bill doesn't get looked. But if you go back to Bill's stand-ups, and I've listened to like when he performed at the Copacabana, I think it's 1962. I mean, there's a level of geniusness. And even though he was a clean comic, he was still a very adult comic. Like they're not like corny jokes. They're very adult humor. It's just not laced with profanity. When you look at it, you have to give Bill Cosby his flowers. And all I'm going to say is, you can't have My Wife and Kids. You can't have the DL Show. You can't have the Bernie Mac Show. You can't have anything that we're seeing on TV, particularly from an African-American family, without Claire Huxtable and Dr. Heathcliff. Bill Cosby is my number 2 greatest, dead or alive, and he's alive. And hey, when he came out the court, I was like this. I'm sorry. I know that's ignorant. You can't say that. But
about that.
Bill Cosby is a genius. That's all I'm gonna say.
He is comedy. He is comedy. I think for me, it just I didn't grow with it. Besides knowing him only as the father figure that in the Cosby Show. So as far as him being super funny to me, I never really got that until I got older and was able to appreciate it more. By that time, I'd already made who I like through, other comedians and stuff. But you can't. It's undoubt what he did for comedy. Like you said, there's all the comedy sitcoms, all the shows that any Black person on television, we owes it up to Bill Cosby and what he did, because we wouldn't be here without him.
Most definitely.
True. Arian, who do you got for number 2?
But number 2, personally, I got Eddie Murphy. My first kind of look into stand-up that was a little more raunchy was Eddie Murphy Delirious, trying to put in my stepdad's Eddie Murphy Delirious DVD at 10 years old. And I opened my eye to a whole new brand of comedy. I said, oh, this ain't Dr. Doolittle. This ain't Mushu from Mulan. This is comedy. Okay. Goonie Goo Goo Gus. What is Goonie Goo Goo? I was crying. I was like, this man is a genius. So Then I had to sneak in and find Raw. You know, I had to figure it all out. Then coming to America and everything, it don't get much better. Like almost like Bernie Mac from the stand up alone. Who can almost touch him? I would hate to go after him. If you go through the movies, you know, he can do everything from families to, you know, shows to whatever. He does everything, and that's why I think, you know, he's my second for sure.
I like it. Steve-O, who you got, my man?
The man of the hour. The man of the month.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus.
The one. The only.
Oh, God.
They used to refer him as Cat in the Hat. The one and only Cat Williams is number 2 of all time. Why, you might say? He has the same clutch ability, as in you do not want to go in behind him.
No,
not only that, he has the home range of comedy down to a T. Not only is he funny, he's visually funny. He put on a whole performance. He would go up there and have a joke and do the joke to the stool, and we'll be sitting there crying. That man was like, bro, one of the most funniest ones was when he was talking about the tiger in Cincinnati Zoo. So how you go get mad at the tiger? The tiger just doing what he supposed to do in his natural habitat. And then he said something amazing happened in the jungle world. And then he broke it down. Not only is he a great comedian, he's a good storyteller.
Yeah.
He's a very good storyteller. And then you transition to movies. Money Mike. That man, I thought that man was a pimp for real after that. He did it so many times. Like, then you go into the TV shows from Boondocks to the Pimp Name Slipbacks to other movies like First Sunday or Second, whatever Sunday it was called. Like, he has like his little contribute Norbit.
He wasn't Norbert. I forgot about that. Yes, he was.
Like you think about it, School Dance, all the type of stuff. He's in a lot of stuff that you don't realize, and he's what I like to call the Shawn Michaels of comedy, because he's a showstopper. He coming in to take the show. It don't matter where you put him in there. He coming to take the show, and by the end of the show, you're gonna be like, "Who was that little mug up there with the perm that had us crying?" Because he's just that funny. Cat Williams is my number 2.
I'm not mad. First of all, Eddie should be in the top 2, regardless whoever we say. So I'm gonna have to give more area on this one. Cat is, Eddie has so many moments. I don't think you can nail it down and just. Well, I mean, the Goonie Google, you would really have to love comedy and delirious. He was like, wife, he would say, he's like, Gus, your wife is a Bigfoot. Like you would have to know that, right?
I know what it is. Your wife is a Bigfoot.
So, and that whole joke about Mr. T and going to Hollywood, like, there's a lot that I would not finish that. There was a lot in that whole setup.
Impressions too.
Yeah. Eddie really has the gift. Cat has the anointing. Let me explain. This.
Destroys the yoke.
That destroys the yoke. And what I mean by that, because Bernie had it too. Nobody, if Cat Williams is performing, I don't care who it is, Kevin Hart, Chris Rock, maybe even Dave to a degree. If Cat goes first or before you, there is no audience.
They leave it.
He's gonna go off. He's gonna, whatever he had on the nose, he's gonna fill it and he's gonna destroy it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he has the anointing, because you can't, when people are that talented, you don't know where they're coming from. He'll never repeat a joke. He's not gonna do the same thing twice, right? He's quick. You're not gonna rebuttal him, right? So if you disagree with something, that will be your last if you try to say something, right? Cat Williams he's a force, and because he is so smart, he is one of those comics like Dave. They're very cerebral. Man, you can't trap him, right? You cannot trap. And then he also has the look. What is he, 5'3", 5'4", 5'5", maybe? Like, he has the look of humor. it's hard to get around that. So I'm not mad. I'm not
with a
mad.
lace front.
Right. With a lace.
Number 3.
Number 3. I don't want any smoke. Number 3. This person right here, even though Quincy Jones destroyed this person right here is the reason why we have comedy in the way that we have it today. It's an homage to a legend. I was not a fan of this person until I really started to listen and realize Richard Pryor was ahead of his time.
Thank you.
Right. Richard Pryor was a 2024 comic in the 60s and 70s when you could not be. And even though there was less censorship, so to some degree he could talk about subject matters that are definitely off limits now, he was so like unbothered by what your opinion about him was. He had a show, it got canceled, and the reason why I got canceled the first show because ABC could not control him. He would constantly break the rules of the FCC. He starts the show off, the Richard Pryor show. His first segment, he's like, I'm Richard Pryor, I'm a comedian, and I'm letting it all hang out. And the camera zooms out, there's a full body shot of him naked. But he's not showing his genitalia. He has on like doll parts. So, like a doll has like no, he doesn't all like, that's what he did for his first thing in the 70s. He was like, I feel like every time Richard spoke, he was trying to get himself canceled. Yeah. Like that's how on edge he was. That's why I give it to him, because without Richard Pryor, the Eddies of the world, the Daves, the Bernies, the Cats, like they don't really kind of have a room, particularly as a black comedian, to operate, right? He made it acceptable to be us on the big screen, wear our afros, talk in our jargon, and not care about anything or anyone while doing about it. So as an homage, I'll give it to Richard Pryor.
Okay. I like that. I've got him around kind of the same place, but I have Dave Chappelle at my third spot. Just on this is almost turning into top 10 favorites for me, or they're like a top 10. But I think my favorites and top 10 kind of interchanges. But Dave Chappelle is so important for comedy for me, is because he did something in the age of stand-ups, kings of comedy that wasn't really being done. It was kind of brought it to like the sketch comedy kind of phase, and brought it to the TV environment, and he completely killed it. I don't know a single, like, sketch comedy isn't something that really has been done since Mad TV, Color Purple. I'm not Color Purple.
Living Color.
Yeah, Living Color. Drawing a blank. But sketch comedy is one of my favorite forms of comedy, and Dave Chappelle just did it right, between that, his movies, his stand-up. I don't think me and Steven like to get into an argument about this a lot. I don't think his stand-up is the best. There's not a whole lot of memorable stand-up moments from Dave Chappelle. I mean, besides, the purple drink and all that stuff. And he's got some stuff, but he doesn't really kill in the stand-up. And, there is some guys I could see who could kill after him. Yeah. But the way he's kind of evolved into just like a comedy giant, and the way he does comedy now, and just kind of bring current events, social matters, and makes you kind of think. I just think he's so important for comedy, and that's why he's one of my favorites.
I'm not mad. He's actually my number 4, so I'm not mad. I have no rebuttal that Dave is. Now, okay, I admit his stand-up is not that's not a reaction. But his stand-up was like, man, that was funny. But it's also one of those like, that was super clever. Like his humor,
it makes you think.
It makes you think. And I think that has been the biggest hiccup with a lot of black audience, is that Dave doesn't have the knee-slapping humor, right? Like,
Then you ain't funny.
No, you can be funny without
subjective. It's subjective. Comedy is subjective.
Do I want a comedian or do I want a teacher?
I mean,
comedy's not a lesson.
Yeah,
it could be a lesson, but make it funny. I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell y'all now. Just everybody's watching. Y'all might get mad. I don't care too much. He's not on my list. Dave Chappelle is not on my list at all. He's not funny to me. He's just not funny to me. It's my piece. Hey,
That's
I've sat there and watched him multiple times and not even giggled.
Man,
It's not funny. The funniest thing I've ever seen that man do was him on Blue Streak. That was the funniest thing.
oh man.
So you telling me you've never laughed at the Chappelle show?
Not really.
Okay, I can't argue what you think is not funny. I mean,
Rick James isn't funny.
It ain't funny. But if you,
I mean,
I'm Rick James.
for its time, it was funny, but like after a while, I was like, it ain't even that funny.
Prince isn't funny.
Pancakes,
right? Pancakes. See, you want to laugh now? That whole sketch.
No, I'm sitting here like, what? I'm supposed to laugh at pancakes?
Hey, bro,
I don't
that's
think,
cold.
man. The whole sketch, the whole thing.
Okay, what about Nutty Professor 1? Reggie wasn't funny.
No.
If that ain't funny to you, that ain't funny to you. But I mean, shoot, that.
Well, what's funny is when Eddie started baking him. That was funny. But my number 3 was Richard. And my number 3 was Richard. It's my number 4 that's gonna get y'all.
Let's go to the number 4. After a quick word from my sponsors, we're gonna start off with Steve because I'm interested in hearing what his number 4 is.
There's a hero in all of us waiting to be unleashed. All it takes is just that one last push. Activate the hero within with CVMK Global Supplements. All natural, steroid free, designed to enhance performance, build muscle, and increase energy. You are unstoppable. You can do this. Become your own hero at www.cvmkglobal.store.
And we're back. Steve-O, I'm starting off with you. Number 4, because I don't believe you just said what you said. That is comic blasphemy, what you uttered.
Right.
Super hot take.
That is a hot take, but that's blasphemy.
It wasn't even a take. It was just my truth.
What is number 4?
My number 4 is, I will say, very underrated. But like I said, if he was to come into any establishment from a barbershop to a stage, there's just not going to be too many people funnier than him. He's done it on multiple stages. He's been in some movies. He's been in some shows. But he's very underrated. But most of the people that really pay attention to comedy and that really knows funny people know who this guy is. He's the big fella. The one, the only, Lavelle Crawford.
Oh, gosh.
Why? Like I said, one of the most witty comics I've ever seen, because it's almost like he's been through every situation, and you can't, like you said, I like what you said earlier, you can't put him in a box. He's too quick. He has a comeback for everything, and the comeback he has will have you to your knees laughing. That's how funny he is. He's the only people that when some of the big people walk in, they just do not want to see him. So, and they have said it out their mouth how dangerous Lavelle Crawford is. He's one of those real funny people that just not at the top stage. He could be, but of course he don't have the image to be. And maybe that's not what to me. He's one of those old school comedians that just like to be on the road and likes to go on road and do tours. That's his lane, and that's what he sticks with. But when it comes to funny, you ain't too many people beating them. They're just not.
Lavelle Crawford is funny, gut busting, hilarious. Not gonna lie. If he
That's
speaks,
all we need to say.
If he speaks, you're gonna laugh. If from the Paula Dean, say Paula Dean can sell anything, he is funny. I was joking with my cousin. I said, I mean, he's still big, but when he was super big, he was more funny. But like now, he just regular big. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like
It's always that way. It's always that way.
I feel like he's still one of his funniest jokes I heard recently was about the when they stormed the Capitol.
Yes, that was I listened to that.
That was funny.
That was funny.
So yeah,
I mean, look, Lavelle. Here's my push: it's not Lavelle's ability to make you laugh. His body of work isn't there
because he just don't have the movies or shows.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That's not something he didn't really want to do it like that.
If we're saying on stage comic, then yes, Lavelle Crawford is that guy.
But that's the first. But I think we got to give more credence to there because if you're not making it there, you're not going to make it to movies. You're not going to make it to TV. So if you can't do it there, you're not going to be able to make it on the big stage.
That should.
But we've seen him in movies that he's been funny in it. He's never going to be the guy to get a big role because he's just not that versatile that way as an actor.
That's true.
He's not an actor at all.
That's true.
Sure.
He's just a comic. All right, I'm not mad.
He's a pure comic. Yeah.
I'm
sure if he was boasted up in a way, he could been kind of someone bigger in comedy, but that's just not the way the cookie crumbled. But he is funny. He is very funny.
Oh, he's funny.
Stand up is
We're not going to take it.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it. Yeah, hey. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's funny. Lavelle, when he said, open up, cheat. What he said, open up, cheese.
Open up, steakhouse. I want a ribeye right now.
Right now.
Oh, he's funny. He was like Paula Dean can sell. He said, "Nigga, come here." I said to my niggas like
anything he does with his mama is funny. He talk about now. We've been looking for you to come out these woods for 2 hours now. They didn't get all these cops in these. I don't know who finna pay for this, but I know one thing: you got 5 seconds, or you live here. 1. There he is. Let's go.
That's too funny. All right, I'm not even mad. All right, Ariel, who you got for number 4?
Number 4, I got Mr. Richard Pryor. What can I say that hasn't already been said?
Yep.
The man is comedic genius, way ahead of his time. Just almost in that Eddie Murphy kind of vein. The shows, the shows, the movies, the stand up. He's almost untouchable. And if I was around, back then, and I kind of grew up more with Richard Pryor, he'd probably be even higher. But since I didn't grow up with it, he's a little bit lower on my list. But he's still you got to respect Richard Pryor. He definitely did. Where Bill Cosby couldn't kind of go into with all the little dirtiness, that's where Richard Pryor kind of took it, and we also needed that for comedy, especially for black comics.
That's true.
Why he's one of those.
That's true. I agree. My number 4 is Dave Chappelle for everything that has been said earlier from Arian. Obviously not Steve-O, since he doesn't think he has any sense of humor at all. But Dave
Chappelle, he ain't funny. He ain't funny to me. I ain't never said the man ain't funny. I say he ain't funny to me.
Okay.
I mean, the first time I met OJ, I mean, that whole, like, I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, like,
he has
the second time.
Right, like, I don't know how Dave's not funny, but I get it. That's your list, all right. But Dave is definitely number 4. This is what's gonna shock you. This person right here, from a number 5, is a legend that gets overlooked, but you can't like Dave, and you can't like Richard Pryor, and a whole host of other comedians who he has written for, without liking this person. This person might not have the body of work from a stand-up perspective, even though he had specials. He had a couple HBO specials, but he's a genius. I'm talking about the man himself, who Ari Spears tries to imitate. Richard. He said, "I love Richard Pryor."
Okay.
Paul Mooney. Right, Paul Mooney is the 5th greatest comic of all time. And the reason for this is because, as stated, yes, he is not a Lavelle Crawford on stage. I give it to you. He's not a Cat Williams. But he's one of those people that could write for every comic you listed, and it'd be just as funny. His penmanship is his humor. There's shows that he has written for that he doesn't get the credit for, right? From not just the Richard Pryor show. I mean, there's other shows, other black comedic shows that Richard Pryor has been not Richard Pryor, Paul Moody's been a writer for, and he wrote Richard's material. So you can't like Richard Pryor and not like Paul Mooney. You can't like Dave Chappelle. I mean, that first season, Negro Damas, as Paul Mooney, that whole, what do you say? He's like Brian Gumbo makes like Malcolm X, right?
Makes Wayne Brady look like Malcolm X.
Bro, Wayne Brady's still pissed about that joke.
What are you trying to say?
Right. He was like, that joke was corny. I'm like, wait, no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
That joke was
everybody laughed.
Maybe,
Paul Mooney, man, is a genius. And anybody that disagrees with the geniusness, I think is a disrespect to comedy. So I'm going to get Paul at number 5.
Man, I totally mind farted on Paul Mooney. He's definitely one of the legends. I didn't even include him on my list. I got to give my props to him. I put him in my honorable mention some, but my number 5, I got Cat Williams. He's just stand-up juggernaut for many reasons. The way he can tell, no one can tell a story like his. No one has the persona of Cat Williams. No one does stand up like Cat Williams. If we're going pound for pound, like stand up, if you want to put it in as like a boxing, I find it hard that anyone could beat Cat Williams in stand up. He may not, lead any of his, like most of his bodies of work. He always usually kind of plays a lot of the same thing, but no one has made the type of character he plays, as funny as he has. And Cat Williams he's just a legend, and all the craziness he stirs up outside of the world of actually his bodies of work. It's a little crazy too. The Club Shay Shay stuff. I don't know what's true or what's not, but a lot of the stuff I could tell you probably wasn't no lie.
Hey! All I gotta say is for everybody that's on this Club Shay Shay, he just said everything he just said. He done said it for years.
He been saying it before, yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm gonna let y'all leave it up to your imagination.
Cat one of them ones though.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody want no smoke.
Like he said, when I walk in, head goes down.
Yes, he did say that. That man said, I'm one of the few that still got a virgin booty hole, bro. I'm sorry, like that right there.
I was like, ooh, this man talking.
Right.
He said he said that man offered me. I said no. Right. So what do you do?
I know what I said, so
I know what I said, and I said no.
Hey, Cat and me. Hey, it was so funny. Shannon couldn't stop laughing. He was trying not to. He talking about, man, I got this stuff. Like you was laughing the whole time.
Hey man, he was drunk by 40 minutes because he was like, I ain't gonna. I'm gonna get canceled for this show. He said that. He said you can sub too.
He's trying to calm it down. He said maybe this will calm him down a little bit. That wasn't helping.
That wasn't helping at all.
So 5, we all said his name, and y'all must be tripping if y'all thought I wasn't gonna leave him outside the top 5. The one and only Eddie Murphy. Like I said, once you can start being characters that's animated, you one of those ones.
That's true.
I don't think most people really understand how funny Mushu is as a character. Like, how many times I just coming down, Bessie.
Down, Bessie.
or some I get disappointed or somebody. How many times I just take design on you, design on your family, design on your cow, like just stuff like that. His voice is iconic. He done it in he the family guy, he the Gringy guy, he the cross-dressing guy. He done it all. He's probably one of the first pioneer. He ain't the first one, but he's probably one of the pioneers to be doing a movie. And he played 90% of all the characters.
That's true.
He's one of the first ones to start doing that or make it popular. So you got to give him credit. He's definitely in the top 5.
Not mad at it. Number 6, get into the bottom 5. It's already been said. His name has already been mentioned. He made my list. He's the only one of the original kings of comedy that actually make the top 10 dead or alive list, and that's Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac.
You wrong for putting him outside that 5.
No, I mean there's a lot of people. He'd have to jump Richard, Bill, Eddie, and Dave. And
so you telling me in a barbershop right now, if Bernie came out his grave and we're sitting here listening to them have a comic off between him and Dave, who's winning?
Oh, if it's a comic off, no prep, just Mike.
See, if you need prep, you not that funny.
If it's a comic off,
different form of comedy.
I'm gonna have to make this own clip, the Bernie clip, because I see now.
Because
if it's just a comic off, you can't defeat Bernie Mac.
But that's my thing, and I think that's why my list is. Let me just say this: this is why my list is the way it is, because I feel like these people, no matter if they're in a movie, no matter if in a TV show, barbershop, stage, when it comes down, who's going to come down to who's going to have the most jokes and who's going to get the most laughs, these people are going to get the most laughs more than anybody. And I'm sorry, like if you need to first of all, there is a level to writing, because a lot of comedians do not write.
Right.
And you have to give them credit to writing. But to me, if you need so much preparation, like you preparing for game 7, you ain't that funny. I grew up in Chicago. I ain't had 5 seconds to come up with 15 minutes to come up with a comeback. You had to come back in the next 2 seconds, and that's how you got to be.
Comedy though.
But see, that's culture. Because we're from Chicago, so we understand. We grew up with whatever they call. Our parents called it the dozens. You getting clown, Joan, whatever. You had to come up with something quick, and if it wasn't better than what was said before, the whole audience would turn against you. That is Chicago humor.
Yeah,
but that's not the only style of humor. Like, yes, Bernie is without a shadow of a doubt. I'm gonna be honest with you, Mike. If we did America's Got Talent and stuff like that, and they'd be like, you bring up all the comedians and be like, hey, look, we're gonna randomly select and we're gonna give you the topic. You can't prep. You got 2 minutes. Bernie stands alone. I mean, it's only really I think that can handle that type intellectually is Bernie, Cat, and Dave. I don't think not Steve.
I will agree with that.
None of them, not even Eddie, like not to do it to that. Like here's your topic, 2 minutes, no prep, go. Like Bernie could do that, right? Mm-hmm. But to put him at number 1, and maybe because we got robbed of his body of work. If he was still living,
that's true.
If he was still living, matter of fact, I know it. If he's still living,
like Pac, he had enough. He was like Pac.
Yeah, if he was on this plane, let's say, I mean, Steve wrote Think Like a Man, but let's say that character actually feels more like Bernie. Not to jump into Cat Williams conspiracy theories, right? But let's just say some other roles get thrown to Bernie instead of to some other.
Oh yeah. People like Cat Williams probably would have came on as hard if we still had Bernie Mac still doing what he was doing. But
yeah.
Anything could happen. I mean, I don't think he would have went down the Steve Harvey role of being like, oh, I'm just gonna go take my money over here and go do like the family stuff and just only do family stuff. But you never know. He might have got a bag and be like, let me play it safe. But I just think
my only gripe is just something you said. And to me, the funniest season to me was probably the first one in the Dave Chappelle show. You didn't write it.
Yeah, Neil.
Yeah, so how I'm gonna say you that funny if you ain't write it? And that's one of the main things you're known for.
The second season's still hilarious to me too.
Right, the man.
But was it the first?
Hilarious. They're all hilarious.
They're all funny.
The racial draft shoot.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That was funny, man.
This.
Ashley,
okay, I get you.
Ashley, shoot.
But 6 is crazy for Birdie.
It's a little.
That's crazy.
Six. Okay,
you know, some people grow up with different things, and
I love Bernie, and I love Bernie, man.
Yeah.
Come on, so Bernie.
We take your Chicago call.
We're splitting hairs at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like you like Bernie. I mean, I love Bernie. I just top. I don't know if I give number one. Number seven. Obviously,
you skipped 6.
I gave 6. I told this. Bernie.
Oh, you did. Oh, duh. Go ahead. Okay, 7. Go ahead.
Number 7. This person has been mentioned as somebody's number 2 greatest comic of all time. This person has broken the internet. This comedian, Cat Williams, honestly deserves a whole category by himself. You trying to count? See where we?
No, I think you said your 6. We didn't.
Yeah, we didn't give our 6.
Oh, you didn't say your 6. Eric, give your 6.
Comments. All right. For my 6, I got my first white on here. I got George Carlin.
Wow.
I got George Carlin at number 6. George Carlin. He's so important for comedy, and not just for black comics, just for comedy as a whole, because he was one of the first comics to take social issues into it and not just almost try to just kind of get a laugh. He wanted to talk about the world and talk about how it was going. And he made everyday life funny. And that's what I really liked about George Carlin. And he kind of put all like the other great white comedians on that kind of talk about social issues, you know, the Louis C.K.'s, the Bill Burrs, and all of them. So without George Carlin, you got none of them. And his body works as far as movies and stuff too. It's still pretty good. I mean, wasn't really a lead in none of the other stuff, but just he's a comedic genius for me as far as writing, as far as his stand up. It doesn't get much better for that plane of comedy.
I'm not mad. I like George Carlin. 7 words you can't see on TV. And as a white comic, he didn't try to evade topics or pretend like things weren't an issue. Because he could have did the Jerry Seinfeld route, and I'm not to clown Jerry, not to clown Jerry.
But Seinfeld works for the Seinfeld audience, but Carlin was a little different.
The people like Jerry could never, you know what I'm saying? Like Jerry he's a nice guy. He's not controversial. Jerry will never say anything that would get banned from TV. And I'm not saying that's the goal. I'm just saying that, like, you ain't never had a moment you wanted to say something, you know, like
exactly. Jerry's just smart. Jerry's a very smart comedian, but
and he's worth like $1 billion. Mm-hmm. Like Jerry understood the business of comedy, but but Jerry, that's why Jerry's now on the list. So
for me,
right, for me.
I know a lot of other people say Jerry's up there, but Jerry didn't resonate with me.
No, he didn't. I still can't. I watch Seinfeld today. I'd be like, I don't know how this show's
right. I'd be like,
as a black man, I'd be like, I don't know how this show made it.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on with the trash? You know,
right?
Like,
Kramer. It just looked odd. I look back and what did Dave say? He's like, he had a rough set. I'm like, hey, Steve over here.
Hey, bro, he tripping, bro. Yeah, rough set.
I put Dave in the list. Steve, who's on number 6, man?
Martin Lawrence.
Oh, all right. Marty.
Gotta put Martin Lawrence. Body of work ain't too many people that can talk about it. Like I say, he a couple hairs. I'm gonna say a couple. He like a down step next to Will when it comes to accolades and stuff. Like when he get there, he got that body of work when it goes down from little roles to big roles. And some of his little roles was, like I said, I feel like some of his little roles is where he really showed off his comedian, from the Blue Streak to the Security movie to the it's a lot of good movies he got out there. His Def Jam days was some of the best. Martin is a television phenomenon. Like people go to sleep to that every night. People watch it every day. So I went to sleep to it the other day. So you gotta put Martin as your number 6.
I'm not mad. I can't even. You're actually making me rethink my last person. All right, that's fine. Right.
Now, number 7.
Number 7. You already know Cat. I'll throw it to Steve. Who's your number 7?
You say Cat. Okay, I got the one and oldie. Hold on, Elizabeth. I might be coming.
Ooh, Red.
Red Fox.
Red
Fox was I will say was one of those people that was a little bit before his time, but also didn't get his just due. And I feel like he got everything that he was getting towards the end. He got it very late, and he should have been got it. He went through a lot of things behind the scenes, racially a lot. He got picked on because he was a mix. They didn't. He was weird looking to some people because he was a light skinned dude with red hair. They didn't know what he was, but like he was one of those dudes where he was one of those people where I knew him from like Seinfeld growing up, but then I got a hold of one of his one of those discs you put on on the thing and you let the album play, and I was like, oh my goodness, these red shows back in the day was crazy. Like he was funny, like he was really funny, and I put him in here because no, his he didn't have the body of work that he should have. But if they gave it to him earlier, he would have got it. Like he probably would have been there. He got the role of everybody's like father and a grandfather late, but he could have been that very early on.
That's true. All I remember him from Harlem Nights. He's like being without the glasses, like you can't see, you blind. Like, hey, red box. Yeah, he's like, what? Hey, Delareese is like, he was like, sugar, I got a girl. He said, so bad. He said, we'll make you. What did he say? We'll make you. Oh, something upside down. What was that part? And Red was like this. Hey, I'm sorry. I don't care. Red Fox. See, if you hit on the head, and obviously, he died prematurely, but his, if you listen to his older stuff on Blue Labels, listen to some of the records, there's jokes in there you couldn't attempt. Like his boldness, and obviously, like none of this stuff is rehearsed. He just literally went up on stage. Whatever he felt like that day, that's what he was gonna say. I appreciate that from Red. Look, 8, 9, and 10 is about to get very interesting.
So it is.
Because I don't know who my 8 is. So y'all gonna be shocked when y'all figure out. We're gonna take a quick word. Listen to our sponsors, and then we get back. We're gonna hit up 8, 9, and 10.
I literally just tried the best pre-workout on the planet. With Superpower pre-workout, you have increased focus and a power boost every single time you work out. It's not only packed with 225 milligrams of caffeine, but it also has citrulline and creatine. It's insane how much energy and focus I had during my workouts. If you're ready to take your workouts to the next level, then ditch your current pre-workout and get the Superpower pre-workout to be your own hero.
www.cvkglobal.com. So you see what I got? The three-way protein, chocolate, 110 calories, 25 grams, whey protein isolate, digestive enzymes. Guys, it's a new year. I want you to get a new body. Do you know how you do that? You got to first get the supplements that's going to help you to get there. www.cvmkglobal.store. Use code CVMK24 for 24% off. Go today. You won't be disappointed. All right. Number 8. Number 8. This comic right here is the reason why comics like Dave, George Carlin, Robin Williams, these comics that are a bit more cerebral and not slapstick can't exist. This comic was making comedy movies when films were still in silent, capturing, right? He is, I think he's one of 3 brothers, but he's a genius. This comic is a comic that Bill Cosby himself said he looked up to. None other than Groucho Marx. This is before my time. Groucho was dead or dying by the time I was born. So I don't have to know. I don't mean, Groucho actually died. Let me Google that right now. I don't mean to be like that, but I won't get somebody upset. Somebody family member told me he didn't die today. Be like, hold on,
realize now.
Put that man in heaven prematurely.
Right. He was like, come on, that's some good years still going.
Right. All right, yeah, he died in 1977. I was born in 1999. He was dead, bro.
Long ago.
Right, long ago. So, but when you look at his body of work, from Whose Line Is It Anyway being on TV, the innuendos. Bill Cosby is interviewing this man in the early 70s, and Bill says, you're one of my favorite comics. You're the reason why I started smoking cigars. Groucho turns to him and said, do you believe in life after death? And he was like, yeah. He's like, because I'm in the afterlife right now. This show is dead. Like, to hit Bill like that, like, I mean, in front of Bill's face, like, you can't get around his comic confidence. That's what he had. Comic confidence. Groucho was the king of the one-liners. Straight punch you and not think about it. And, body work, his historical impact and significance is the reason why, as I said my first white on here, as Arian said, like, I gotta talk about this, but no, Groucho makes a list because without Groucho, man, you can't be that, to me, cerebral funny. So shout out to Groucho Marx. Arian, what you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. As far as putting everybody on and everybody kind of getting that kind of style and kind of what he did for comedy. Yeah, there's not a whole lot, like I said, from black and white movies. So the man was doing it from the very early times of film and comedy. So he was pivotal in that point. But my number 8 I got is Patrice O'Neal, one of the pioneers of the kind of that kind of 2000s 2010s that kind of podcast kind of humor, that kind of just kind of straight up just interview humor. I don't think there's anyone funnier than this man, just in like a straight up conversation. The way you can just get him in it, like some of his funniest stuff he said, it's just in an interview. And so he's been named as your favorite comics comic. A lot of people done stole off this man.
Yeah.
We
got a whole YouTube favorite that stole off that man.
Came out there, man. The deleted my whole man's YouTube career went down because he done stole off this man. But Patrice O'Neal, he talks real stuff. He brings in the social matters. Brings in he makes you feel yourself in all his jokes. Like you can always be like you ever felt you'll be like I do feel like that. I don't ever think anyone else felt like that. So he made you feel included and stuff. And I love Patrice O'Neal. Definitely gone way before his time. If he was still around, he'd still be killing it. He'd be on that level. How we talk about some of these other great comics. So it's a real shame he went before his time.
That was my guy, but I had to put him. He was at 6, but I switched him out for Martin.
Okay, which is fair.
It's fair.
Yeah. I literally switched them out at the last second.
Yeah.
Okay, what we at? 8?
Yep.
8
still. Now, I know he been gone for a little minute because he found the Lord.
Oh.
But in his heyday, he was one of the most drop dead funniest people, and he got a catalog as well. He's one. He first of all, he has countless. The reason you gotta put him on the list because he has countless characters that you will never forget, countless movies you will never get, countless lines, the versatility that he has, and just everything. He just has so many iconic things that you will never forget about them that you just cannot not put him on the list. And that's the one, the only. Smokey Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker was easily out of Def Jam, probably top 3 at the time. He was probably one of the new guys coming on where he was like, bro, where's this dude from? Where he's coming from?
Energy.
And he got every role almost possible at that time. We remember him from Rush Hours, all the Rush Hours, to what's the one with the money? What's it called?
With Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen. That's funny. Just like he is
Money
so
Talks.
much Money Talks.
Yeah.
Money Talks, one of his funniest of all time.
It is.
From Friday with Smokey. He set the standard for whole Friday that they made sure they had to. Hey, that's a big task coming in from Mike Epps, who's honorable mention. But he was just a unicorn at the time. Nobody was used to somebody like him. He brought in a new energy, a new sound to comedy, and he got to be my number 8.
I'm not even mad. Chris Tucker, I have no negative things, and as a Kojic alum, I respect Chris. You didn't mention Fifth Element though. You kind of people would like to forget about that movie.
Yeah, man, did all that. He did more than comedy, you know.
Right. I mean,
Transcend.
Fifth Element was something.
It was something.
And they're ugly.
Hey, Ruby, hey, this is one of those movies you be like, you gotta explain yourself, brother. No.
Hey, bro.
This is an explanation, right?
What was going on? How'd you get that movie role, bro?
but Chris Tucker is a genius. He has the voice and the sound of funny, like body chemistry, Rush Hour. You know what? Chris Tucker could have been. Chris Tucker at a time could have been an all-time GOAT.
Yeah.
I feel like and obviously like it was a faith move, right? But it was like his rise was so on fire that if Chris would have said, I want to do the next Cosby Show, they would have gave it to Chris. Like, I feel like he had that at a point, you know, particularly by like Rush Hour 2 or like right before Rush Hour 2. So, yeah, Chris Tucker, he's actually an honorable mention for me. He didn't make my top 10 list, but you know, I give it to you. All right, number 9. This person right here, somebody y'all didn't see coming. This person right here can play in any audience. He is the king of offense. His nickname is Mr. Warmth. He could talk trash with the best of them. He could clown you. He could do humor. He also could do children stuff like Mr. Potato Head. Don Rickles is one of those comics that Don didn't care what color you were. If Don wanted to come at you, Don was coming at you. And it was like, there was nothing you could do. He was just going to get you. You just going to get hit that night, right? So, and to have that type of boldness that Don had, like Don really, he didn't care. If you watch some of those watch the Dean Martin comedy roast. When Don is up there, Don is destroying everyone, you know. And to have that, to being on the Johnny Carson show, shutting Johnny down, like Don Rickles that was a tough little man, you know. So I will say that, you know, Don was, I won't say he was like the white Bernie Mac, but for lack of a better word, right? But you know,
pretty much
he was the white Bernie Mac, and Don loved it so, and I appreciate that because you need people that are going to challenge and make you feel uncomfortable and talk about, you know, subjects that aren't necessarily status quo or politically correct. So Don is my number 9.
Yeah, I agree with that fully. He's also my number 9. Only thing I can add to that is, you know, that's one of the quickest, you know, most wittiest men, you know, you're going to be able to find. That man was just on it. You know, as to add on to, you know, he can talk about anyone. That man at the correspondence dinner, you know, was talking straight up to Ronald Reagan himself, had the whole room dying. That man don't care who you are. President of the free world, he coming for you.
Right.
So that man, he's definitely one of the GOATs. He's definitely one of the pioneers as well. So yeah, what could be the white Bernie Mac, you know, definitely. I like that a lot. Tom Rickles, he's just up there.
Steve, who you got for 9?
Well, since we talking about the white version of that, I must say this man was the, like you said earlier, off on backstage, the white Richard Pryor, and that's Bill Burr. That's my number 9. That mug will sit there and talk about the most uncomfortable things with everybody that you don't like him in the audience, and then as they're talking to him, shut up! I'm in the middle of my show. Leave me. First of all, he's the perfect because he's what from Boston, so it's just perfect. He's a natural bastard. He don't care. Like he don't care. Like that's the number one. Like his fearlessness is probably his greatest thing, and he has the voice of comedy, like you would like to say. And he pays attention to some of the things that you bring up. One of the funniest things that's probably his most thing is him talking about the WNBA.
Oh,
and
yes.
if you got women crying and laughing about that,
yes. He said,
hey,
don't support the WNBA.
he said, where are the feminists? Where are the feminists? It should be packed there with feminists.
Yes.
He talked about nobody in that league got COVID.
That is so true.
Dang.
Oh.
I said, but it's just the bonus that he has, the type of things he will say, like his thing going, no, you're never supposed to slap a woman, but let's not act like y'all don't have a reason why y'all get popped sometimes. Like there's a reason sometimes. And he sit there was like, I remember he did it, and one lady just said something. He was like, "What? What do you even say?" See, there's a reason. Just stuff like that. He pays attention to everything. He grabs the room, and yeah, he's definitely the boldness of a Richard Pryor. So I call him the white Richard Pryor. And he's number 9.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I mean, Bill Burr. Nothing out, Kate. Bill Burr he's in a class of himself. Number 10. You know what? I'm gonna cut to a break before I go to number 10 because that's what we do here, so we can get this YouTube count on. Let me go to a break before we get to number 10.
Hey, what's up? It's CVMK33. Look, I want you to subscribe, hit the notification bell, subscribe here, everywhere, so you can get the latest and greatest of this podcast content. Stay tuned.
Oh, if you like this, one word, 4 letters, CVMK, hit the like, share, subscribe button. Should be on the bottom right next to the thumbs. All right. Number 10. I have debated this. I almost changed my mind, but they say go with your first mind. This comic let me phrase this correctly, is one of the hardest workers in the room. If there has been a comic that understands the business of comedy and has tried to capitalize off of every opportunity, it has been this comic. And I think this comic understands that you can't stay hot forever. This comic right here, I feel like every 3 months has something coming up, which some people say that works against him. I'm not, that's debatable. But I will say this. I'm going to call this comic the hardest working comic. That's why they make the list. Because when it's all said and done, we're going to have to look back at this comic's career. Look at the movies. Look at the specials. Look at he doesn't have any TV shows yet, but look at the stuff he's produced, the stuff he's managed, stuff he's written, and be like, man, that person did it. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and this is hard because I really want to, I've been looking at it, but I'm not going to change my list. Kevin Hart is the 10th greatest comic of all time, male, dead or alive. I'm not saying he's the funniest. I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody we listed right now has a laughability, like, remember like in Street Fighter back in the day, and they had like people like special powers, and like, you know, Ajax would have like power and it'd be like in his arms and stuff. This person wouldn't have that. They'd be kind of like Sonya. You know what I'm saying? But if you think like, man, that's a lot of stuff. Like, this person really works hard. You can't outwork this comic. You can't. Kevin Hart's body of work that is still being done places him at number 10. He has his earlier stuff. Laugh at My Pain was his best comic. I don't care. That's still his best special of all time. Because
he didn't write it.
That's probably true. But what I'm saying is, when you look at the total package, Kevin Hart is gonna be there, right? He's not my favorite comic, but when it comes to the show, the show, the business, right? The business of comedy, he's the Black Jerry Seinfeld. That's who Kevin Hart is.
The one person you don't have on your list.
Jerry didn't make my list, but Kevin's gonna make my list, right?
Yeah, they finna get you.
You know, you kind of done sold me on that because it started to make me think. Started to make me think because I'm battling. I battled this last couple spots been hard. I battled between Louis C.K., Bill Burr, some guys, but you cannot knock this man's body of work, and you cannot act like the wave that kind of he has led since the 2010s, and on. You can't just neglect that, because I know y'all remember when that man came out in about 2011, Laugh at My Pain. Yeah. Some of that stuff he did around that time. Yeah, that was some of the funniest stuff we had ever seen. He had the entire world still till to this day, quoting some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the most, I think, for me, that's one of the most influential, stand-up, specials I've ever seen, and I can't knock that. So I gotta throw that man as my number 10 as well, because the body of work he is one of the hardest workers. You may not like him, you may think he's sold out, you may think, he does a lot of stuff that can be called corny, but the man working. He getting that bag. He doing what he do. He could change it up. He can be a serious actor. He done made me cry in some stuff. He done made me laugh, cry. Don't knock that.
No, he's made. I know you're talking about that movie when his wife died. I know on Netflix. Yeah, that almost made me cry.
That man got some action chops. The man's serious. So I can't knock what he's done, and just he had, bro. I was in high school at the time, man. He had the entire, and I went to a white high school. He had the entire school quoting that man. Not just us black folk, because we got it a little early. Because I remember we saw it, and I remember my mom had just had the baby, and we were sitting there like Christmas time, dying. And we got it a little early, but man, once they got it too, man, everybody was quoting that. So I can't discredit what he done. He's got to be my number 10 as well.
I'm not even gonna argue that he was on a trajectory. But right after Laughed at My Pain, not even that. It was I Am Grown I'm grown with a Man. Then it was Let Me Explain. No, it was Laugh at My Plane. Then it was Let Me Explain.
Right.
After that, I started noticing a repeatancy and a tendency of him doing and sounding the same. And I just didn't like, okay, I need something different. And then as I notice, when everything he does, even when it's being funny, actor, it's the same thing. Dude, that's not what I'm saying. It's that. And then the way he brings in a joke is the exact same way he brings in any other joke. The same way he's tried to be funny in any other movie is the exact same way he'd be funny in any other movie. There's no versatility to me. So therefore, he was had the trajectory. But then when you also do a little homework on the man, we realize something about his ex-wife being also a comedian. And then
Tori,
strangely, Tori was writing some of those
You can, I have to confirm that. I don't know if that's true. But
hey, if you look at it, you can if you go back and you an OG Twitter user, she was that person that was handling that account that was dropping all them infos and all them jokes and funny. It was her. As soon as he stopped messing with her, said she was crazy. That's his favorite thing he like to say about everybody. She's crazy. Da 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 da. He ain't that funny no more, especially stand up wise. Now I give it to you. Movie wise, he got it. He a movie star for sure. He a movie star for sure, and he will make you laugh in certain situations in movies. I give you that. Him and DJ Dwayne Rock Johnson they're perfect together.
Chemistry,
but
it works.
I had, like y'all said, I put Don Rickles up. It's my 10.
Okay.
I can't put him over them. I just can't.
I get it.
But yeah.
I wouldn't argue against it. Man, like he just the body of work is just too much. Like
he
even his
definitely
little stuff, even the little stuff like Real Husbands of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like
no, that was not funny, bro. That was kind
of funny. The first two seasons were funny.
Yeah, it stretched out a little too long.
So you just like that one thing with Matt when they was trying to fight. They was trying to rob that bank. And that was funny when they was trying to rob that bank and they forgot to. They couldn't figure out.
Oh no, that was the end. That was the end of the special.
Yeah.
Seven of us, Mr. Brown. Why you put the seats down?
that was funny.
That's funny.
That was funny.
Kevin has some. Look, him and DJ are funny. He's got. It's not just that pets. I mean, he's done so much. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like
Ride Along was both of them.
Ride Along was funny with Cube. The second one, you know,
Get Hard.
CIA, you're right. Get Hard with Will Ferrell. Yeah. Bro, Kevin, you can't outwork him. I feel like, you know, regardless of his laughability on the mic, like if you put out a special, Kevin's going to do 3. If you put out a movie, Kevin's going to do 5. If you put out a book, Kevin's going to do a whole animated series. Like Kevin's always a step ahead. That's what his geniusness is. His superpower is to work hard. He's the hardest worker in the room, and him and DJ, they need to remake Twins, the Arnold classic, and Kevin needs to play Joe Pesci's part, but they're even like with that, like Kevin Hart has chemistry. He has DJ, like that. There's no other comment that say, man, they were perfect with. I mean, no, Richard had Gene Wilder. I can't say that. But see, look how far we got to go back. They were perfect with, you know what I'm saying? So, like, when you start looking at it, Kevin Hart is number 10. Like it or love it, hate it or not, it's, he's
top 10 now. I don't know about all time.
All time, dead or alive, he's number 10.
He remind me of, like, the comedy version of Drake.
That's fair. That's very fair. Like
some people don't like it, but it's
true.
You know what it is like when you know like it's you know a Kevin Hart special. You know what you're gonna come into, but it's gonna be good.
Right.
It's not gonna be anything groundbreaking. It's not gonna be anything crazy, but it's still gonna be good. He just the amount of stuff that he puts out is just that's what keeps him on top.
That's what keeps him on top. That's what keeps him going.
Well, in the words of Drake, I'm just saying that you could do better.
Look, let me get to this honorable mention. I have somebody on here. I'm gonna list my 2 honorable mentions together because I couldn't decide. One is Mr. Mustache himself, also known as Steve Hightower. What do you think? I just think Steve is. I don't even know if it's. Honestly, I don't even know. You know what? But I just maybe because that is funny. His body of work, sitcoms, the Steve Harvey Show. Look, the Bullethead. It's 90s nostalgia. Prince of, Cedric was on there. Levita. Like honestly, I feel like if you didn't grow up, watching that, like that was 90s everything, urban America, nostalgia. And then my second honorable mention that I'm gonna go with this person right here. I'm gonna be 100 with you. If he decided to right now, I'm doing a stand-up or I'm doing a movie and I'm gonna be full me. There's nothing you could do about this guy. He owned. We can talk all we want, but this guy right here, he's the only white guy on an all-black cast that stood and held his own. Jim Carrey. Dog, Jim Carrey. James Carrey is a legend. And Liar Liar is still one of the funniest things I have ever seen from top to bottom. Start to finish, Jim Carrey will eat you if you wanted to. And he knows that, and he just decides not to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my two honorable.
They try to play like Jim Carrey crazy. Jim Carrey ain't crazy.
No, he's not.
Jim Carrey is a genius. Jim Carrey. I want to put him in my honorable mentions, but I want to bring in some guys that I also think don't get as much, as much heat. A lot of people don't talk about them. One of my honorable mentions being Will Ferrell. Not in the stand-up game. Right. Probably couldn't even do it. But body of work as far as movies and stuff like that, it almost don't get no better as far as like comedic movies.
Yeah.
Step Brothers, Talladega Nights, know. Man know how to write some movies. You know, other guys, the list can go on and on. Anchorman,
right.
Can't even forget Anchorman. So Will Ferrell's up there on like the Jim Carrey vein. He's just, a lot of other actors have been just like, it's almost exhausting because Will Ferrell is on at all times, even when cameras aren't rolling. Like he's right. The funniest man in the room. And then also I got Mike Epps on there. As far as stand-ups, he's hilarious. The movies go, took over, the whole Smokey kind of role almost, kind of interject him. There's not even much more you can say about Mike Epps. He does it all, and he just does it to a great level.
I'm not mad.
I got 3 honorable mentions. Mine was Eddie Griffin, Mike Epps, and Earthquake.
What?
And very especially Earthquake. Earthquake was, I wanted to put him in my top 10, but I couldn't. Just because he's just one of those funny dudes. Like, bro,
he is funny.
Bro, he was talking. I was so broke. They talking to me, talking about, can I remember my lunch number? He said, bro, I ain't even got my own tennis shoes on.
Earthquake is funny, man. That man said he was like, I'm not getting that vaccine. He's like, fool, you live in Flint, Michigan, and you just got out the shower. What you mean you ain't getting the vaccine?
He said, man, I had so many hoes when I saw Michelle Obama's, I had to get all my hoes. He said I was letting them off like it was a stable. Yeah. I'm looking for a first lady.
Earthquake is funny.
I was in tears with Earthquake.
Earthquake is funny.
I said Eddie Griffin. I feel like he's deceptive. He's very deceptively.
He's hilarious.
Like he catch you off guard, but like I had to put him on him, and like for everything you said from Mike Epps for sure, and Patrice O'Neal was also in my honor.
Patrice, yeah. Oh, I forgot one of my honorable mentions. Cedric the Entertainer. I am
Cedric. I think Cedric is funny.
Cedric is hilarious.
Cedric is funny.
Bro,
Cedric is an honorable mention.
Hey, did y'all the funniest joke I've ever heard from that man?
I already know it.
What was that? Did you hear that joke about he's talking about the giraffe at the zoo? He said he was at a giraffe at the zoo. And he said, I love giraffe. They usually the coolest animals in the zoo. Be walking around like a little ball player, Linky. But he said that some woman was at the zoo and that doggone giraffe got tied in that mug. He said that bug said something and that mug said, B. And then he started running away. He started galloping away like, and then he told about the other giraffe like, hey man, Dwayne, what's wrong with you, Dwayne? We saw you kick that old lady, Jermaine.
I got one who, honestly, this person, and I feel ashamed that they didn't make the list. You know why this person didn't make the list? This person is so talented that he honestly needs to he needs to stick to a specific niche. He's so talented that because he's in so many different niches, it's hard to make him number one. But if this comic ever decides I want to do this, Jamie Foxx is nothing to play with, bro. Mm-hmm. I need security.
For real.
Bro, like Jamie Foxx is nothing to play with. He is hilarious, but the problem is because he's so gifted, you know, you just never know. Are you going to get serious, Jamie? We're going to get Ray Charles? Like, I don't know which Jamie this is, but Jamie Foxx, honestly, as far as entertainment, if there was ever a number one entertainer, he would definitely be in that top three. But as far as comic and comedians, Jamie Foxx deserves honorable mention because Jamie is a legend. Look, this has been a great episode. I want to thank my guest Steve and Aaron, man, say it again, man. Where can they connect with you, man?
You can find me at the Sideline Talk Podcast. You can find us everywhere you get your podcasts. You can find us on YouTube. You can check out my Instagram at Ari_Simmons23. TikTok, I believe it's the same thing.
Y'all connect with him at the Sideline Podcast. Connect with him on the gram at RE_Simmons23. Steve, where can they connect with you, man?
Hey, Steve-O Speaks on everything. Follow me at NBA Central as well as Bear Central, as well as YouTube and TikTok. We on TikTok too.
He's on TikTok, y'all. Connect with him, man. He's been on the show several times. You know what you can do with your boy. It is what it is _show. CVMK_global. Where the best supplements are. www.cvmkglobal.store. Always the personal page of CVMK33, TikTok CVMK Globe, but YouTube, where it goes down. One word, 4 letters. CVMK. And until next time, guys. Thanks.
If you think exercise alone got me looking like this, well, think again. CVMK Global Super Thick got me right. I'm obsessed, and yeah, I won't stop talking about it because it helped me grow in all the right places. Its creatine provides a fast and reliable way to increase your power, size, and shape, and it's scientifically proven to help you reach your physical goals in a safe, controlled manner. So if you want to increase muscle size, pump, and thickness in your muscle groups, you need Super Thick.